Why I didn't do nothing to this person?
What? Who's there? Some fucking wants to show up. Our
goes by Cole Porter. Folks, I'd like to take a moment for something a little more personal than usual. As I'm sure you know all too well, I haven't always been the best at this job. Hey, let's face it, I've been pretty terrible. Thanks to the efforts of a few of my friends, I've decided to change how I look at things, how I live my life. I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank the Vault Dweller for lending me a hand. I really do appreciate it. All right, folks, that's enough sentiment from me. Let's get it on back to the music, shall we? Here's Uranium Fever by Elf Brit. It's catchy, right?
Oh, no, no, no. Government, man. Man, who want to do all of this in a post-apocalyptic world? Huh? David Koresh? You said you couldn't move. When, right now? No, I mean now you should feel like you're just cool, right? A little bit. Oh, you saying you can't move now? Scoot up here real quick. You just move. Come on. I know. I just want you to know you can.
Attention, this is now a combat zone. You may suffer.
Have you ever wondered how many synths in Fallout 4 are secretly pretending to be normal people? I'm sure you remember that early scene in Diamond City.
I swear, I'm not a synth. Don't shoot, for God's sakes, we're family. Put the gun down, now. He's a synth. He'll kill us all.
In that moment, a guard shoots one of the brothers who had his finger on the trigger. But if you check his body afterward, you'll notice there are no synth components inside. And if you decide to reunite the family in heaven, the other man, the one his brother suspected, also turns out not to be a synth. But here's the real question. Since there's so much talk about the Institute replacing people with synths, there must be many more of them hidden across Fallout 4. I got curious about that, so I decided to find them all. Some of the NPCs on this list are pretty well known to be synths, but others can't be discovered without using cheats. I was honestly surprised when I found out that some key characters had secretly been synths all along. Let's start with Diamond City, the place where all the paranoia about synths went the furthest.
I am not a synth. I am the same flesh and blood boy who grew up on these streets.
About the latest issue of Public Occurrence.
What a twist! Yes, the mayor of Diamond City himself is actually a synth, just like I suspected. You find this out during one of the Institute's side quests, where you have to collect a report from him personally. Or, if you finish the main story with any faction other than the Institute, and then return to Diamond City, the truth finally comes out. The people of Diamond City spot the mayor with synths, and after that, he injures one of the guards and locks himself in his office with his secretary as a hostage. During my first playthrough, I finished the game with the Brotherhood of Steel, and since I didn't have any more quests in Diamond City, I never went back, so I never found out who Mayor McDonald really was. Next, let's take a look at one of the notes in the Synth Retention Bureau. Unit ID C241. Status: Unit at large. Investigation underway. Location: last sightings. Good neighbor. Notes: no recent sightings. Unit believed to be in railroad custody. Memwipe likely performed by now. In this case, it's impossible to find out who this escaped synth is during any normal quest, but you can still figure it out on your own. You just need to complete the Cabot family quest line. Once you do, the singer from the third rail bar stops being essential. Yes, she was a synth the whole time, and considering all the possible romantic interactions in the game, like the Robo-Brain from Far Harbor or Magnolia herself, it turns out the developers actually made it so that besides the companions, there are only two characters you can be romantic with in Fallout 4, and both of them are robots. But besides that, have you ever thought about who actually responds to the signal from the recruitment radio beacon and comes to your settlement? Have you ever wondered if some of them might secretly be synths? For example, a settler may look completely normal, but what if one of them has a synth component inside?
I want to trade a few things.
Sure thing. Some settlers will drop a synth component when killed by the player character. This can happen even before you ever enter the Institute. Synth infiltrators can sabotage generators in your settlements and even start fights with other settlers. Usually, a synth infiltrator appears right before an Institute attack. Just before the assault, they'll damage your defenses to help the synth attackers. Sometimes, synth infiltrators act a bit strange. They might randomly draw their weapon, stay awake all night, or have natural energy resistance. During an Institute attack on a settlement, synth settlers will turn hostile, and you can kill them without any penalty. Speaking of settlers, there's also a place called the Warwick Homestead, where a settler named Roger Warwick lives. According to his family, he's been acting very strangely lately.
Do you ever think he'll change? I mean, really change, like deep down.
Sure I do.
I think you must be right. My dad's a good example. He used to drink all day, and he never did any work. And then one day, everything changed. He stopped drinking completely and started to work with me. He suddenly seemed to care a lot more about what happened to the farm and to us.
And as it turns out, there's a reason for that. During one of the Institute's side quests, you're sent to the Warwick homestead to deliver some modified seeds to Roger, and that's when the truth about him is revealed.
We covertly replaced the family patriarch at Warwick homestead with a synth.
He was replaced by a synth. What's even more interesting is that without this quest, you would never be able to learn the truth about him. If you kill him, you won't find any synth component on his body. Most likely because the developers simply forgot to add it. But that's not the case for another very well-known character, one you meet at the very beginning again.
Another something where they need our help.
Oh, that was just a joke. Of course, it's not Preston Garvey. It's actually another rather suspicious character in power.
I appear suspicious because our mission is
And of course, it's not a coincidence that he seems suspicious, because he's actually a synth. In the Synth Retention Bureau, you can even find some very interesting information about a synth who was last seen near Boston Airport. Since only Brotherhood of Steel members are stationed there, we can assume that this synth is one of them, which is later confirmed during the main Brotherhood story.
After the encryption of the data you retrieved from the Institute, a portion of his findings included a list of synths that went missing or escaped from their underground facility. Paladin Dance is a perfect match for one of the synths on that list. Paladin Dance's DNA is a perfect match for a synth they called M797.
However, Paladin Dance's codename doesn't match the one listed in the Synth Retention Bureau. I think that's just a developer oversight, unless, of course, there's another synth hiding somewhere among the Brotherhood. I've even wiped out every named Brotherhood member, yet I never found anyone else fitting that description. Still, Dance really is a synth. If you follow Maxon's order and kill him, you'll find a synth component on his body. So, most likely, it's just a mistake made by the developers, but it's worth noting that some synths don't appear in the Synth Retention Bureau records at all. For example, while exploring the wasteland, you can come across a strange settlement called Covenant. To enter, you have to take a special safe test, which is a clear reference to the GOAT, the Generalized Occupational Aptitude Test from Fallout 3.
Oh no, you've been exposed to radiation and a mutated hand has grown out of your stomach. What's the best course of treatment?
I don't know. I'd say a prayer and hope God would save me.
Surprisingly, the test actually works. For example, Old Man Stockton's daughter from Bunker Hill, Amelia Stockton, was captured in Covenant because people suspected she was a synth.
I'm Amelia Stockton. I'm not a synth.
That's probably a lie.
I'm not lying. How many times do I have to say that?
She completely denied it.
Job was to rescue her, asshole.
But as we can see, the synth component found on her body leaves no doubt she really was one. There are also synths living in Far Harbor, but in this case, they weren't replaced by the Institute. It was Dima himself who did it. This is almost impossible to miss, since you learn it after unlocking Dima's first memory. Still, if you don't go to the coordinates of the medical facility under one of the beverage factories, and instead move on with the story, destroying either the Children of Atom or Far Harbor without exploring the rest of Dima's memories, this secret might stay hidden forever. But if you visit the place mentioned in his first memory, you'll find out that Dima replaced the town's leader, Captain Avery, with a synth.
I did it. I killed a woman from Far Harbor and replaced her. I stripped a synth's identity from her and made her an agent.
Originally, Captain Avery was human and the leader of Far Harbor. She opposed the Children of Atom, trying to protect her people. To calm tensions and prevent a full conflict, Dima killed her and replaced her with a synthetic copy. One of Acadia's residents served as the memory donor. After surgery and memory wiping, the new synth Avery truly believed she was the real Avery, took her place as mayor of Far Harbor. But unlike the original, this version began supporting the idea of letting the Children of Atom live on the island. And through one of Acadia's side quests, we can also learn about another hidden synth living in town.
I need to talk to you about our missing synth. I'm working with Chase.
It's Brooks, the local trader who helps new synths arriving on the island and secretly transfers them to Acadia. However, Dima probably didn't replace Brooks with a synth. He most likely just sent him to live in Far Harbor and act as a contact for newcomers. We know this because if Dima is put on trial and executed by the people of Far Harbor, and the player can't convince the mob to spare Acadia, Alan Lee kills Brooks, shouting that Acadia will burn, starting with that synth bastard, referring to Brooks. This means Alan Lee already knew Brooks was a synth, and probably other townsfolk knew too, but didn't really care. Now, let's go back to the synths of the Commonwealth. One of them can appear during a random encounter. A man named Timothy. At first glance, he looks like an ordinary person wearing Institute clothes, so it's hard to tell who he really is. A runaway synth or an Institute worker. Even during dialogue, he doesn't reveal anything. He just asks for directions to Bunker Hill without saying who he is. But once you pull out your weapon, everything becomes clear. Yes, it turns out he's a synth, one who most likely escaped the Institute without help from the railroad, since they wouldn't just leave him wandering the wasteland alone if they had helped him. Another interesting case is a synth named Eve from the Institute. You can easily learn who she is by simply talking to her, but if you never approach her, you might not realize that she's actually part of a social experiment. The head of the robotics division wanted to test if a synth could truly live as part of a human family, so he used his own family for the experiment. Eve acts as a kind of surrogate mother to his son and, in fact, his wife. And even though she plays that role, she still helps other synths escape. as revealed in one of the Institute quests. Speaking of synths who live in plain sight, there's one you can easily overlook. If you decode a Corsa chip but stop doing missions for the railroad, you might never find out that one of their members is actually a synth, and probably not just any synth, but a former Corsa. She once worked for the Institute, but over time she began to question her role and eventually decided to flee. And of course this is Glory. Judging by her background, the tasks she did for the Institute, and the fact that in the creation kit she's listed as Corsa class, she was almost certainly a former Corsa. Finally, there's one more character you'd never suspect of being a synth. In fact, without using cheats, it's impossible to find out. Because he's essential and can't be killed, I'm sure you already know who I mean.
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help.
Okay, just kidding again. The real synth is actually his friend, the one you meet with Preston Garvey at the very beginning of the game.
Sturgis, tell him. There's a crashed vertibird up on the roof. Old school. Pre-war. Might have seen it.
Yes, Sturgis is actually a synth. If you remove his essential status and kill him, you'll find a synth component on his body.
Whoa. On your side.
So, after that, how can anyone in Fallout 4 ever truly trust the people around them?
Winona Harris, folks. Let's hope his grandma got the help she needed. Non-stop music and all the latest news. This is Diamond City Radio. Next is Crazy He Calls Me by Billie Holiday.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey.
So what's your story? Looking to trade? Rob me? Or just ask directions to Diamond City?
Your money. All of it. Now.
Yeah. I know the drill. This ain't my first muggin'. Here. Now leave me alone.
Carla.
Ah, the robber. Hey, I paid up, so get lost.
Good news is something often in short supply in the Commonwealth.
I can rest easy knowing that Wolfgang
So
is
I'm happy to
robbing
be
me.
able to deliver a little
Thank
bit
you.
to you. If you were
Do you
one
need
of the
anything?
folks worrying in hushed tones about the whereabouts of Diamond City's most effective
Sure.
detective,
Let's take a look.
It's all worth every cap I'm charging.
Nick Valentine is back in town and seemingly none the worse for wear. While details to him are scarce, I for one am just glad he's back. And in one piece. And if there's any more good news to share, you'll hear it first here on Diamond City Radio. Let's face it, gentlemen. If you were this guy, you'd be singing about it too. Here's 60-Minute Man.
Ah, the robber. Hey, I paid up, so get lost. Don't think I won't hurt you.
Oh, it's on!
Happy times, Spy Bob Crosby. Now here's the latest from the Commonwealth. Reports suggest a chem deal gone bad outside Diamond City. Details are scarce, but it sounds like whatever happened, it was pretty violent. If we're able to verify any further details of this story, we'll pass them on to you listeners. Just another day in the Commonwealth, huh, folks? Kick back and enjoy one from the 5 stars. This is Atom Bomb Baby. Tex Beneke, folks. Folks, I'd like to take a moment for something a little more personal than usual. As I'm sure you know all too well, I haven't always been the best at this job. Hey, let's face it, I've been pretty terrible. Thanks to the efforts of a few of my friends. I've decided to change how I look at things, how I live my life. I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank the Vault Dweller for lending me a hand. I really do appreciate it. All right, folks, that's enough sentiment from me for today. Let's get it on back to the music, shall we? Next is Worry, Worry, Worry by the Three Sons. I'll admit it, this pretty well summed me up. At least until recently. That was Billie Holiday. Coming at you almost live from Diamond City. I'm your host, Travis Lonely Miles. And this is Diamond City Radio. The next one is Keep a Knockin' by Louis Jordan.